talk now. This MMA, what we talking about? Yeah, you tuned into the pod now. Gonna be hard for you to stop now. Yeah, we caged in. Yeah, we caged in. Yeah, we caged in.
Welcome back to another episode of Caged In. I'm your host, Chris DiCarlo. Today we got a very special guest making his debut on the show. It is Ruben Bitar. How are we doing today, my man?
All good. Thank you very much for having me, Chris. It's nice to be in the show chatting with you. I look forward to it.
Of course, man. Thanks for coming on. I know you got a big fight coming up November 9th. You're going in there versus Eric Zane at Cage Titan 68. Of course, we are here to talk about that one, man. But since this is your first time on the show, I'd like to get into your background a little bit and help the fans get to know you better, outside the cage, man. So let's start at the top, man. Where were you born and raised, and what was growing up like for you?
Yeah, for sure. I was born in Beirut, Lebanon, and I lived there till I was about 5 years old. And then, something like that. And then I moved to Qatar, actually. And I grew up mostly in Qatar from age 5 to 18. It's a very small country, and now it's quite developed. When I moved there, it wasn't super developed, so there wasn't that many MMA gyms or whatever, anything like that. Even my high school, or my middle school, even we didn't have any wrestling programs or anything like that. But I love sports. I grew up playing a lot of sports, pretty much everything, like rugby, basketball, tennis, whatever you could think. I loved it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a nice time growing up there. I actually started jiu-jitsu in Qatar with United Jiu-Jitsu, and that was probably maybe towards the end of middle school. And I'll say I was training jiu-jitsu there and martial arts a bit more casually. I was into MMA, but there was no MMA academies around, even though I wanted to train. So I was just doing jiu-jitsu casually, doing other things with my friends. And it was a very nice, chill upbringing over there. Can't say anything bad.
Nice, man. There you go. And you mentioned that you were an athlete growing up, man. What was it like playing sports outside of the States? What were the more prominent sports for you guys while you guys were growing up out there?
Yeah, main things were basketball, soccer, you would say, football. I live near water, near the sea, so I'd always be swimming by the beach. I'm always outside with my friends. My school was my high school was technically an American school, and I asked them, I never wrestled before, but I was can you put in a wrestling program? They're like, yeah, we have one teacher who's coached before, whatever, we'll set it up. And I was excited to start wrestling, but then COVID came, so then
of course.
But I was rounded. I played all sports growing up, but it's not as serious over there as in the US. In the US, it's the parents really push the kids and shove it in. I feel over there, you have to have the passion yourself, and you have to want to do all these things. But I will say, my parents always pushed me to do sports, stay athletic, and that's something I'm always grateful for.
That's awesome, man. How was your was to moving to the States? Was it an adjustment period for you, man? How was that transition?
Yeah, I came out here for college, actually. I study at Northeastern. I study industrial engineering, and I came over for that. And it was interesting. I never visited Boston before I moved out here, so I came here to a new city. No, I didn't know anyone, no friends, no family. I was like, fuck it, let's see what happens. And honestly, it's been a great time here. I like the city, I like the people here. It's very seasonal. I have to get used to the colder seasons, but and eventually I found my gym, found back to basics. So I feel I have a second family away from home here. So I like it here in Boston. I have no complaints.
That's awesome, man. And then when did the introduction to MMA start when you came to the States, man? Why did you get involved in, whatever gym you started in? Why did you jump into the gym and how did you start chasing this MMA dream?
Yeah, I'll explain. So it actually goes back to more 2016. One of my best childhood friends, his name is Abudi. He showed me a Conor McGregor trash talk video to Jose Aldo after he knocked him out. So this must have been 2016 or something. I was oh, this is amazing. This is the craziest sport I've ever seen. After that, I was up almost every single Sunday morning at 4 or 5 a.m. to watch UFC cards because there's a big time difference over there. So I'd wake up before school, be dead the whole day, but I didn't care. I would watch the cards, and I've been a diehard UFC fan specifically since then. And I knew when I came here to college to the US, it's a great opportunity to get the top level training, work with some great trainers, some great training partners. So I was over there training some jiu-jitsu, casual, whatever. And I knew when I come to the US, I'm coming to study engineering, but it's my big shot to come join a good gym and really start get going. And I found back to basics in my second year of college, not my first year. My first year was a bit of a transition phase. I wasn't really training much. And then when I found it, I was like, yep, this is it. I've been with them now for probably almost like 2 years, and I've just been grinding up.
That's awesome, man. How are you able to balance, going to Northeastern, which is a great school, the engineering program? I'm sure that's not easy work, balancing that with, this MMA dream that you're chasing. How are you able to balance those two lifestyles?
Yeah, so it can be tough. I think that the only way to say it simply is like being the best possible student allows me to be the best possible athlete, because each being a better student gives me more time to train, and training hard clears my mind, allows me to study. So I think there's a balance there.
Hmm.
It's okay. I mean, I would say it was mm, probably tougher. I think the first few years, now it's a bit chiller, I would say, but it's definitely full time, one thing to the next to the next. Can't be wasting time, can't be doing any of that. So it's tight. It's a tight schedule, but I like it. I like being busy, and fighting's what I love to do, and I need to get my degree. So that's it.
There you go, man. Killing two birds with one stone for sure. This is your second. You've had two amateur fights. You're going on for your third. You've had one kickboxing fight to your record. So there's a lot of people out here, man, that haven't seen you fight before, but I'm sure they're going to be tuned in to Cage Titans to see your third one, man. For them, how would you describe your fight style to them?
My fight style is it's very rounded. I feel like my game, I don't really have any holes. I'm very comfortable striking. I did that kickboxing fight, Muay Thai fight you talked about. Before that, I did another Muay Thai smoker. That smoker was possibly my best result. I got a knockout in the first round, with headgear, 16-ounce gloves on. So I know I have power in my hands. I like to strike. I like to keep at a range. I like to fight inside tight boxing. My coach, Jeff Perez, he doesn't let us have holes in any area. So he forces us for weeks to fight on the inside. I'm a tall, long guy, so I didn't like that, but I adjusted. He teaches us use your jab. He teaches us the mid range. Even if we're talking about the clinch, I feel good in the clinch, good knees, good trips, good sweeps. And wrestling, I feel like I picked up wrestling very well since I came here. I've been training back to basics every week wrestling, and I feel very confident. Good takedown. I've obviously been doing jiu-jitsu for years since I moved back over from there. Um, I feel like my style is too rounded, and I feel like I can hold my own with the best person in my weight class for amateur in any single area. So when I go to fight, I'm not really concerned if they really try and force a takedown on me and land a takedown, because there's good wrestlers. They always give me these wrestlers. It's fine. I can work off my back, get a submission, get a sweep. If the guy wants to strike, I'll strike with him. If I feel like taking him down, I'll do it. I feel like I have good cage work. Like, I feel just too rounded.
Awesome, man. I love your confidence for sure. Let's talk about your past two fights, man. I want to dive into your fight history a little bit. You are 2-0 as an amateur mixed martial artist. You made your MMA debut at Cage Titan 66 versus Eamon Callahan. You won that fight via second round Anaconda Choke. How did it feel to go in there in your MMA debut and get a finish like that?
It was a cool feeling, walking out to the stadium with packed with people. It's very different, it's very flamboyant. I enjoyed the experience. I was just along for the ride. Like, I was like, hey, yeah, let's do it, whatever. I knew I wanted to do this for a while. I felt good in the fight. I learned a lot from that fight. I will say the first fight I went in very I wanted to kill him, whatever. I was very stiff, very rigid. And I think, even though I got the result I wanted to, I didn't flow like I wanted to in the fight. I didn't have as good movement as I wanted to in the fight. And then he came aggressive, heavy wrestling. I had a good armbar attempt in the first. I learned from that. Got up, we had a good scrap, and then second round he just shot hard again, and then when I got the submission on the top, it was a great feeling. Honestly, I had him in an armbar, and I really hyperextended his arm in the first round. So when I had the anaconda choke on him in the second, I was like, I'm gonna have to sleep this dude. So when he tapped, I was very surprised. I thought he has to be unconscious, but yeah, he's a tough guy. I'm sure he has more in him, and that was a good fight, good experience. I learned a lot from that.
Yeah, man, you talked about that armbar. I wanted to ask you about that, man, because that thing was in super deep. When you got it belly down, man, his arm was definitely hyperextended. I thought you might actually rip that thing off. Were you surprised that he didn't tap to that, and did you have it in as tight as it looked?
Okay, so I was surprised that he didn't tap to that. But after the fight, I was I saw the videos. I was like, how did his arm not snap? What's up? Like, what was wrong? So I did some investigation, and I figured out at the end that I needed to have better grips on his wrist, to have the high wrist control to actually snap the arm. Because in the gym, if you're hugging the arm and you go back, most of the guys are gonna tap. But when it comes to the cage, that the adrenaline, you have to set yourself in a position to be able to break the arm. And to be able to break the arm, I think I just needed much better wrist control, because what happened was he eventually like shimmied out. He was sweating. I was obviously sweating a bit, and he got it out. If I had a good wrist control over his glove, I would have been able to snap the arm, or he would have realized and tapped. But that was the issue, and I learned that from that fight.
For sure, man. And after that armbar attempt, Callahan kind of reversed you and got you in an Americana attempt. It wasn't like the cleanest Americana attempt, but he looked like a pretty strong dude, and he was cranking that thing pretty hard. How did that feel on your arm, man? Was it in deeper than it looked, or how did you end up working your way out of that one?
Yeah, that was a good one. He was much bigger than me on the night. I think he cut a lot more weight. He was huge, and when he put that in, I think I have a good Americana defense. I know what I was doing. I felt like I was in control, and like the arm wasn't in such a compromised position, but he was cranking it like 100%. Like I could hear him breathing in my ear hard. I was like, damn, bro, like it wasn't even in that deep, but since he was just torquing it so hard, it didn't feel very good. But I managed to get out of it. I think, I don't know, he tried to transition to an armbar or something. I got on top, but it didn't affect me at all in the fight. I didn't really have damage. I mean, it was a bit sore afterwards, but it was nothing much, and my defense worked, so it was okay.
For sure, man. Definitely a great MMA debut there. A very entertaining first round. A lot of submission exchanges. And, of course, you go out there and you finish it in the early second round with the Anaconda Choke. I want to get into, the sequel, man. Cage Titans 67, your second amateur fight where you went in there versus Colin Houghton. You won via Doctor Stoppage after round one. That first round, man, you absolutely dominated that round. Almost secured another Anaconda Choke, man. When you grabbed that one, did you think that you had it locked up at the end of the first round? And were you surprised you didn't tap before the bell rang?
Yeah, I'll tell you. So that one, that was actually a darts in the second one, and when I put that in, I was like adjusting it. I was putting it tighter, but then I heard the 10-second clapper. When I heard the 10-second clapper, I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna bother gassing my arms out and trying 100% to go to the second round with gassed arms. So I had it, and I was squeezing a bit, and I was sort of adjusting position to roll them over. I definitely could have squeezed way harder and forced a tap out of him, I think. But I was being smart, and I did not expect the ref that was going to stop the fight, going into the second round. So I sort of didn't give him a full squeeze. I think if I did, I could have forced a tap. But yeah, anyways, it was a nice dominant way to end the round. I was ready to come out round two, give him some good, striking, whatever. But the ref stopped it, and that was what it was.
Yeah, man. After that round, you mentioned the Doctor Stoppage, the way the fight ended. He had a cut on that eye and some damage to that eye. How did you feel about the way that the fight ended, and how did you feel about that Doctor Stoppage?
Yeah, well, initially I was surprised because when I was actually on top and ground and pounding, I wasn't like looking so much at his face. Like I was just concentrating, whatever. Even in the darts or whatever, I couldn't really see his face. And then when the round stopped, he just walked away. I didn't really look at him. I didn't really care. I was like waiting to see what my coach was going to tell me. And then the doctor was standing in front of him, so I couldn't see anything, couldn't see his face. And then they stopped. I was so confused. I didn't know if he like quit or whatever. But in the end, it was just because there was like a cut below and above the eye. So for amateur, they don't want it to like fully shut. I asked the doctor in the back because I was curious myself. Mm-hmm. And then that's all. So even no elbows, you can do a lot of damage with the ground and pound with these small gloves on. You just have to go at it, and that's what happens. So I honestly, I wanted to get it finished myself, but I'm chill with it. Like I'm cool with it. No worries.
Yeah, for sure, man. Win's a win, that's for sure. Yeah. Let's get into your training camp a little bit, man. I know you talked about back to basics a bit at the top of the show. I know that's where you do most of your training camps. Describe the vibe of the gym, man, and the culture that's being built over there for you guys.
Yeah, I think back to basics, I think it's different. And I'm not just saying that like every other guy. I'm saying that because they only opened a few years ago. They opened like somewhat in 2020, and they've been expanding rapidly since. Started off in like a small space, moved to a bigger space. Now we just moved into an even bigger facility. It's a huge gym. Just started up. We're like dominating a lot of grappling competitions. We have a lot of guys fighting in Muay Thai. The fight team is really starting to build now because the gym's been open for some years. Like our coach head coach Jeff Perez, like he knows what he's doing. He has a system down. He's very experienced himself. Like he's doing everything the right way, and he's really going back to the basics, like the name says, of the gym. We don't do anything fancy, don't do anything crazy. We just do what's right. Maybe other guys think it's boring, whatever. We want to get all the fundamentals down. But when we have a good time, we laugh around. We're like a family over there, but we grind. Like we go at it for like no set times. Like if you come to our competition class, like Jeff's not necessarily going to say, yeah, over. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. You don't know, or you just keep rolling. You just go at it. You just go at it. And Muay Thai sparring is very good over there, high level. I just see it as rapidly expanding. And I think in like another 4 years' time, it's going to be just a premier MMA gym in America. People will come here to train, and it'll be the hub of New England MMA. I truly believe that, and I see that. And since I joined 2 years ago, I've seen a lot of growth. When I joined, there was maybe the only people fighting were ones from like Hakobo, already fought pro before, and now he's leveling up his game. He's fighting on the card with me. He's gonna kick some ass. So he's been putting in the work. My teammate Eric as well, Eric Q. He's gonna fight as well. He's my main training partner. We go at it a lot. He's good level. He pushes me. I push him, and I think he's gonna kick ass as well on the same night. So 3 of us going in there, I think we'll all do well. I'm confident. I see the work, so I'm not scared for anybody.
That's awesome, man. And you mentioned, head coach Jeff Perez. Anybody that's been around the New England MMA scene for a bit knows who he is. How is it having him in your corner for every fight, man? What's it like working with him? And what have you learned the most from him?
In terms of MMA and in terms of fighting, I learned like a lot from him, almost everything. Like before I came to him, striking wise, even I had like very basic striking. Maybe I did some like kickboxing classes when I was a kid, maybe like, I don't know, like 10, 11, 12 years old, but like very basic, not really hard sparring or anything. And he got me straight. Like he taught me everything. I didn't know how to wrestle before I pull up to back to basics. He pretty much taught me to wrestle, fixed a lot of my jiu-jitsu, adapted it for MMA, striking. Like I think he's like, he's very smart. He says things bluntly. He tells you what you need to hear. And when I go out to fight and he's in my corner and he's walking out with me, I'm not scared. He sent me prepared. He's not going to send me to, I'm ready to go at it. He's there. I'm confident. We'll go at it. No problem. So it's big having him in my corner, I will say.
For sure, man. And anytime you see him, cornering you guys, he's very intense and very high energy. Is he also like that in the gym, or is that just fight night energy?
No, he is definitely high energy. He likes to go at it all the time whenever he's healthy. Always do hard rounds. Sometimes we'll roll for 1 hour straight. He doesn't care. We'll keep going, no problem. He loves the game. He loves seeing his students adapt and evolve, and for him to see his gym go from like zero to pretty big in 4 years, and starting to develop fighters from people who never fought before. Like I'm sure it's great for him, and we're all happy over there. So it's a great gym. That's all I can say.
That's awesome. And you touched on your teammate, Eric Hune. He has fought on the last two Cage Titans cards with you. He's going to be fighting on this upcoming one with you as well. What's it like having him in the gym with you every day, getting ready for competition, man, and just having somebody that's like a similar size to you? I know he's a little bit smaller, but a similar size to you, and also competing on the same cards as you. How important is that to have every day in the gym?
Honestly, it's big because like we both started at the same time. He's going through all the same things I go through. We go through the weight cuts. We do all the same stuff. Like we're basically like in the same or one weight class away from each other, so we can give each other good work, good feeds. And I see him go out and dominate like last fight, like he did, and like it feels nice that I know I'm training with a guy of that level. So I feel chill, feel more relaxed, and for someone to be on the exact same path and process as you, like you don't feel alone. You feel chill. Like I think it brings peace to me that my training partner is doing the same thing, that my coach is so like, he's proven he knows everything. It's a great vibe. It's a great feeling. I can't ask for more, honestly.
That's awesome, man. Very excited to see both of you guys perform again. So let's get right into it, man. Cage Titans 68. You're going in there versus Eric Zane on November 9th. This one's going down in Plymouth, Massachusetts. What do you know about Eric Zane, man? And how do you feel about him as an opponent?
I mean, I don't know that much about him. I know that he's a college wrestler and that he had 2 fights before he fought one fight in Cage Titans. I think he got like a ground and pound stoppage. Honestly, I don't really care. Like, I don't look too much into each of my opponents like that. Like, whatever. Like, I just want to force my game onto them, do what I want to do. And I feel like since I'm coming in with no holes, they can do what they want, and I'll figure it out, make mid-round adjustments if I have to, round to round. Coaches will tell me. He looks like a strong wrestler, looks like a good wrestler. Whatever, they always give me wrestlers. The first guy was a wrestler, second guy was a wrestler. I never even wrestled properly before, and I think I can now wrestle these guys. So I have no worries, no concerns. We'll just go at it, and I'm sure it'll be a good fight on November 9th.
That's awesome, man. And you mentioned, getting 3 wrestlers in a row. Is that frustrating for you getting kind of the same style of fighter? I know at the amateur ranks, you kind of want to test yourself against other specialists and what they're good at. Having this be your third fight against 3 wrestlers, man, are you looking forward to the day where you get in there versus like a pure striker or, a pure grappling artist or, someone with a specific skill set other than wrestling?
I mean, I'm okay with it because generally in the sport, wrestlers are who dominate. So if I figure them out first early on in my career, then the biggest, boogeyman for everyone else for me is going to be like the standard opponent that I've been facing each time. So I think it's good. I mean, it would be nice to fight a Muay Thai guy with like basic grappling. I could just, strike with him, or if I feel like it, just dominate on the ground. But honestly, I think it's better. I'm getting fed these wrestlers early because this is meant to be like the worst type of matchup for me. It's like I'm meant to be like a longer, lankier like striker or whatever. But I think it's perfect. I'm getting them early. I'm getting everything down, and I like it. I enjoy it.
That's awesome, man. And we've seen you fight at catch weights in your first 2 fights, man. What weight class do you feel most comfortable in? Like, would you bulk up to 170? Would you cut to 55? Where do you see the future of your career going as far as weight class?
Yeah, I'm probably just gonna be at 55 lightweight and just stick here. Like my other fights were catch weights. I could have made 55 all along, but my coach doesn't want me cutting a bunch of weight for no reason. I don't think it's that healthy. Like my first fight, I didn't cut much weight, maybe like 7, 8 pounds, and I think my opponent cut 20 pounds. Like I think doing that to yourself from a young age as an amateur, I don't think is great. So like we've been taking it chill with the weight cuts. Even now, if I'm fighting at 55, I don't even cut that much weight. Like I think we're doing it smart. And then once I go towards my pro career and like I can put on a bit of muscle, then I can start cutting a bit of weight. But I still have more muscle to put on, and I can still make 55. So that's comfortable for me. So that's gonna be my weight class.
There you go. And you mentioned, having your length and your reach is like an advantage for you. In your first 2 fights, you have had a significant reach advantage versus both your opponents. I'm assuming that you will in most of your fights moving forward, considering how long you are.
Yeah.
Is that something that you plan on capitalizing on for the majority of your career? And how do you plan on using that length and reach to your advantage in these fights moving forward?
Yeah, 100%. I think I had like 10 inches of reach on the last 2 guys. It'll probably be the same for this one. Um, I use it everywhere I can, not just in the striking, because I think generally striking does have an advantage to be longer. Play on that game. I can also fight on the inside, and I think that's fine. But in grappling, I don't think in grappling it's better to be longer or shorter or whatever. I think everyone can make their style work for them. So I just try and make my style work for me, play to my strengths. But having such a reach advantage, I think it works great for me because most of the guys who are this tall and lanky, they will struggle more in the grappling department. They'll get run over by these bulkier, shorter guys. But believe me, I'm training with top guys, good wrestlers. Jeff is coming at me every day, and if I can even deal with his pressure, then I don't care. When I go to the cage with these guys, like I'll smash them, no problem. But I feel like the fact that I'm long and I'm able to make do with these wrestlers, I think that's a very good combination that'll take me far. That's what I believe.
For sure, man. This will be your third Cage Titans event in a row. What is it about Cage Titans that keeps you coming back and you keep accepting fights with Cage Titans, man? What is it about the promotion that keeps you coming back?
Man, like they have to be one of the best regional promotions in the US. Like the venue is crazy. It's like a full-on Coliseum style seating stadium. The production is crazy. Like if you look at how they post the videos professionally, commentary professionally, everything is done professionally. It's done well. They have fights pretty, actively every month and a half, which is a good time for me. Is I like to go take, a few weeks and go to camp. The promotion, they're good for me. They always bring me opponents. I know Jeff spent a lot of his career there, so we have some good connections with the guys up there, and it's a good time with Cage Titans. It's a good performance. It's a good show. Nothing bad to say about them. It's great.
Awesome, man. And what can the fans in Plymouth Memorial Hall expect from Ruben Bitar once those cage doors close on November 9th?
You can't expect anything because anything can happen. I'm not gonna force the fight to go however I want. Like it's gonna flow. It's gonna be good. I can do many things, but there's gonna be action. I never want to have a fight that's boring. I'll never have a fight that's boring. I like to come forward. I like to put pressure on my opponents. At least like if I'm on the back foot, touching them on the back foot, not just getting away. So you will always see action. You will always see some highlights, something like that. Just depends on how the opponent is really, because I'll be ready and I'll be ready there to fight, no problem.
There you go, man. And let's look forward into the future, man. With a win on November 9th, you will be 3-0. Do you plan to end 2024 3-0, or are you going to try and squeak another fight in here at another promotion to end the year, or will we see you kind of readjust and come back in 2025?
I'll probably just readjust and come back 2025 because I'll go home for Christmas break, visit my family. I've been like cranking out the fight camps back to back to back, which is great. I love it, but I think now to do some skill development, have a bit of a bigger gap to the next one, it'll be good. Work some new things in my game, adapt, become even better, see what happens this fight, adapt from that, and that's it. And I'm not even fixated on like record or whatever. Like I just think I'm getting better every day, day in, day out. I'll just keep cranking in the fights, and I'm gonna keep developing and out developing my competition, and that's it. Like I think it's going well. I think I'm a better athlete than a lot of people, and I'm willing to grind more than a lot of people. I'm in a good team, so I think that has all the recipes for success. So and the ingredients for success. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, Ruben, thanks for coming on and taking your time to come on and talk to me, man. I definitely appreciate it, and definitely looking forward to seeing you perform once again. Before I let you go, man, where can the people come find you on social media, man, and anybody you want to thank or shout out before I let you go?
Yeah, for sure. You can find me Ruben Bitar. That's just my Instagram. It's spelled like that. Yeah, I'll shout out my gym, of course, Back to Basics. Jeff Perez, Eric, Jacobo is also fighting. I'll shout out my boys like Millen. I'll shout out yeah, that's it. Everyone, you know who you are from the gym, my boys. Like it's good. It's gonna go down November 9th. Just don't miss it. Just hop on it live if you can't be there, or be there in person. I recommend it. That's all.
Awesome, Ruben. Thanks for taking the time, man. I'll see you on November 9th.
All right. See you. Have a good one.
Down for the count and he can't even talk now. This MMA, what we talking about? Yeah, you tuned into the pod now. Gonna be hard for you to stop now. Yeah, we caged in. Yeah, we caged in. Yeah, we caged in.